All right. Hello, everybody. Let me just pull up chat so I can respond to all y'all coming in. All right. How is everybody doing? We doing all right? So, while I'm waiting for people to file in, I'm gonna bring up something from my week, you know? I want to do this as much as I can. So, for those of y'all who do not know, I am a major fan of anime. And, the biggest one I've been watching right now is Demon Slayer. And, you know, mainstream, whatever. But, can I just say, and I promise this is related, I hate shopping online, mainly because you can never guarantee that you're going to have what you ordered quickly. Which I guess is very... that's very, like, instant gratification of me, but I ordered a hoodie, and it says it's not gonna be here until the 26th. Oh, my heart. I'm gonna die, because I can't have my hoodie that I want. It's a Tanjiro hoodie. It's literally just the black and green checkerboard pattern. I probably could have bought that at, like, Hot Topic. But, yeah, how's everybody doing? I have something pulled up, and I made a comment about it on, this one Discord channel I'm a part of, where there's a paper I've been reading on clicks. You know, stuff like... And... So... It just... On the... Which page is this? On the third page, there's this big table of... some confusions among the articulatory phonetic classifications of the clicks. The click is not included in this table, as it is always described as bilabial by those authors who refer to it. I freaking love that. Linguists cannot agree on anything, and it is fantastic. Like looking at this one, the only that click. The only people that agree... So, Beach and this paper are the only two that agree. In fact, they sit pretty... This paper sits pretty closely to Beach's paper, all except the palatal click. And if you read on later, the lateral click, they kind of say is not quite just alveolar. It turns out it can be wherever, but the big thing is that it is a lateral release rather than a straight release. So, like, it could be alveolar lateral, or it could be retroflex lateral. Those sound pretty much the same. It could be dental lateral. Again, they sound pretty much the same. Which is why this paper talks about it just being a lateral click. It doesn't really matter where. But yeah, I just wanted to show this off. They're called... Talyard and Sinman call this an apicopalatal click. But it's funny to me. It's very funny to me. Alright, So, now that some people have come in, how's everybody doing? Am I audible? Do I exist? Am I alive? Yes, no? Alright. Well, I guess I'll just hop into it then. So, last week, we started working on a translation for a conversation regarding the quality of some fish in Kea. Now, this is a translation I like to do, or a translation theme that I like to do, because it's very open-ended. Very open-ended. It's what it says on the tin. It's a conversation regarding the quality of some fish. Hey, you gave me some bad fish. What do you mean? Back and forth, back and forth. So, what we have already is, hey, you gave me some bad fish. What do you mean? Some of the fish you gave me yesterday were rotten. Okay, what can I do to make it right? I want some of my grains back. Sorry, my family and I already ate it. In one day? I have a large family. Fine, the next time I get fish from you, I need half for free. Really? And then that's where we cut off. We spent a lot of our time working on words like really and fine and sorry. Because these aren't literal translations. They're approximations. So chacholo means like you're not gonna like what I'm about to say. Ateteo is, I use it as like fine, but it's more like I give in, or I give up, or like it's fine. The next time I get fish from you, I need half for free. Ateteo. So that's it. That's what we worked on last time. And then somoy, or somoy. I don't like what you're saying. But yeah. So let's hop into it. So I could just not give you any grain. Would be something like Asha. I know I have a word for to give. I'm pretty sure I made it yesterday. Ah, yes. Hey, Sutton, how's it going? I'm doing all right. We're just working on finishing that Kea translation about the fish, and then we're gonna work some more on Ofsumir. Maybe give it a name this time. that sounds like a good idea. Ooh, that sucks. Yeah, no, if you need to leave at any point, like, I fully understand. But I appreciate you checking in and hanging out. Okay, so to give, so I could just not give you any grain. This is a subjunctive sort of deal. So, or not a subjunctive, but like a conditional. It's just irrealis, general irrealis, like a I could blah 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 blah. So I'd say I'd put that in for the infinitive. Asha for and then up here subjunctive of Offer. Okay. So. Offi. It's not fee. It's not fu. It's fee. I show fee for a. Then did I have a word for grain? What did I make the word for grain? Ah, just a general. Rafu. Rafu long? Oh, rafuto. Then I'm gonna put. See, because the negative, I feel like a negation sort of deal could go anywhere. Depending on what, depending on what I want to negate. So I would say like I'm trying to negate grant or give. So I would put it after, considering adjectives come after the nouns, or after whatever they're describing. So I feel like the safest bet is to put it after the verb, the whole verb thing. So deo. I could just not give you any grain is the sentence. So the gloss is 1 copula, subjunctive, give, infinitive. What am I doing? And then that would be negative. That deo. Then I could just not give you any grain. I use this. It's more of an irrealis, but I should probably rename it if anything. But that's subjunctive. Indefinite negative. Yeah. An indefinite negative. Okay. I don't think I distinguish between indefinite negatives. Or definite or indefinite negatives. Which is definitely something I could add. I don't see a problem. Hey, Galactic Sand! We're working on finishing that translation about the quality of some fish in Kea. And then we're gonna work more on... We're gonna actually work more on Ofsumir verbs. Not give any grain. The any is referring to an indefinite negative argument. Okay. But I think because grain would be an inanimate argument, I don't think it's... Or in definite negatives with no... Yeah, so no dogs. Yeah, or English marks definite definite negatives with no. So no dogs. Yeah, that makes sense. But I think because grain is an inanimate noun and they don't, and in Kea, inanimate nouns don't take any definite or indefinite marking. I don't think that they would do that. I don't think that it would matter. I think just it would be assumed. Oh, I think I get what you're saying. I think I get what you're saying. Don't mind me. Just plop that. The subjunctive clause. and then the negatives. It's not an article thing. So... Oh, yeah, that's a quantifier, isn't it? Okay, so... Let's see, do I have any, like, quantifier things? Yeah, I do. So I have some, many, all, so, so this requires that, because I think it's pretty safe to say that grain would be a mass noun. So I wonder, I have a word for container. I'm pretty sure. Why do I not have a word for container? I do not have a semantic map. Conlanger's thesaurus. Okay, we're just kind of... Wow. Alright. Oh, I think I've seen this before. Yeah. Yeah. Kinship. Don't want kinship. Don't want body. Well, that might have something to do with it. Like a stomach or a mouth. when you discover the documentation. True. Very true. Oh, this looks like I can imagine here we go. Food and drink. A head? A head? For a... Okay. Where is 25? Where is number 25? I... 20... 22, 25. I guess I didn't think about that because I didn't see head up here. But I could use head as like a, I could use head as a container. You know, for some... For some reason, I feel like I've heard that somewhere. Like, a head of mead. I feel like I've heard that before. Well, the Conlanger thesaurus is great for evolving definitions. I guess I don't quite get it. Like, I understand, like, these... idea, like the maps, but like when it says just flay or skin, like, yes, that is a verb, thank you very much. Like, I don't get that, but I understand this. Like, pound with fist is kind of related to crush or grind. Push or shove is related to that, and press pinch. Like, all of these things are related. I get that. I see that. Stuff related to the grammatical maps is lower towards the end. Okay, this makes sense as well. Like, give. It can mean a benefactive, a causative, a dative, purpose. Oh, there is! I like that. Might be used in passives. Different forms may exist for different recipients. So, like, I get that. Hold up. Let me just keep going down, seeing if... Dark lines are very common, dashed lines less common. Spatial relations. Fun. Ooh. This is important. Considering what we're trying to figure out. Quantity. Sum. Is there a sum? I do not see a sum. So, more, again, is related to more. Yeah! That makes sense. And, okay, so, again, I don't see anything like some, but I guess we can... Or few. Some, few in number. So I can imagine little, like little being related to it, yes. Let's move down, see if there's anything else. Sense perception. Ooh, smell transitive and intransitive. Ooh. Okay, this is good. This is really good. I didn't... Okay, some, any, or no is lower. It's even below quantifiers. Other implicational maps and higher... There we go! Oh. This section has semantic maps as well as some implicational hierarchy. Negation, conjunctions. Question words. Classification prototypes. Ooh, demonstratives. I'm gonna need to... Verb hierarchies, adjectives. Ah, idiophones. Adjectives. So. Adjectives. Some languages have no adjective word class at all, instead using either verbs or nouns to handle this function. However, some languages may have a small or medium-sized set of true adjectives. Small adjective inventories will typically have words for 4 core semantic types: dimension, value, color. Oh, I am? Oh, there we go. Or some, that's just small. Hold up. A pretty flat chart around negatives. Was it this one? About, specific known, specific unknown, irrealis, non-specific, question, conditional, indirect negation. This one? Because that's specific known, specific unknown. That semantic map of indefinites. Somebody called. Guess who? Specific unknown. I heard something, but I couldn't tell what. You must try somewhere else. Question, did anybody tell you? Conditional antecedent. If you see anybody, tell me. Comparative. Indirect negation. I don't think anyone knows. Direct negation. John didn't see anybody. Free choice. You may kiss anyone. Yes, that sharing page numbers would be very helpful. So we don't so we don't spend so I don't spend time missing everything. So irrealis non-specific can lead to direct negation. Okay. So asho for okay. So grain is a mass noun. Grain is a mass noun. I could just say bowl is any word for container. Yeah, no, Sutton. Have a good one. Ah, there we go. Love that it found it after I added it. Great. Okay. So a container. Oh my gosh. I just saw Tiki. I'll have to explain that later, but I love that word. I love Tiki for so many reasons. So I guess this is more like a container's worth. A container's worth of X. Omofafa. Mr. Sun. Oh, great. That's fantastic. I love that I have a name. Omofafa. So it would be Omafafo. Fa. Fo. And then I'd say, and mind y'all, this is the Proto language. This is not the Proto language of Kea, but this is a Proto language to everything. Not everything has to be figured out or be explicit. So I think some can apply to like any. I think. So mana, is it mana? Mana. Ah. Some mana. Okay. So, I don't like what I'm about to say. Half of it will be free. Just coming off what I said about, like, not everything needing to be figured out right away, I think it would be impure. I'm just reading things, apparently. I just saw this. I think it would be important for me to at least flex my analogy muscles and be like, what is a good actual semantic space for a word like I don't like what I'm about to say? Because if you think about it, a fine, what's a fine? A fine is something that you give. A fine is something that you take but aren't very happy about it. It's you owe somebody something. And I could take just straight from that semantic space, but I think I would be remiss to not, or to do that. But I also think I would be remiss to not use some sort of negative semantic space. Like a negative meaning. Not necessarily like negation, like a word like no, but maybe like impure. It might be, I don't know if any of y'all, yeah, exactly. Not everything has to be figured out, but it sure does feel nice to have everything figured out. Exactly. But I think I would be remiss to not use this negative semantic space. So, and if you don't know, if you haven't read it, there's a thing called operator theory, which Noam Chomsky's advisor created. And it does this thing, it states this thing where like two words, so you have what's called an operator, and then what's called I forget what it is, I forget what it's called, but it's dependent on the operator. And if that dependent is so common, it can just be dropped off. So, what if we just say bad? What if we just say bad? Like it could have come from another phrase somewhere. It really is a fascinating idea, Galactic Sam. But why can't we just take it from bad? Because obviously it's like, this is a bad thing to say. This is bad. Well, maybe no. Okay, so let me walk you through my thought process. My thought is, why can we not just use the word bad? My first thought against that is like, this is very much applicable in computer science, speaking from experience and building simple programming grammars. The leaving things out, or just operator theory in general, or is there a specific thing that's relatable in building programming grammars? But yeah, so my first thought was we could just use bad because it would be like some shortening of a phrase, right? So then my next thought was, well, everybody would know that okoli, it just means bad. It means bad. So it might be thinking like, this is bad. So like, imagine you're talking to someone and saying, this is bad. This is bad. Fine, I'll give you, this is bad. I'll give you this. Like, that just seems a little off to me. Yeah, like, regrettably. Similar to bad. We just wanted to take doma okoli. Or impure taking. I could do like a compound with bad or impure, and then to take. And then that could also mean something like to be poisoned. Because we have our take meaning eat sort of deal. To take. So ina. I like that idea. To take eat. So to take or oh, I do have a word for container. Yeah, mafi or omafa. So to take or to impurely take. Maybe I could use an auxiliary that used to mean something like hold. Well, I do have this, so I could take this. I could take this word hold and turn that into an auxiliary. Keep for self. To keep for oneself. Just gonna weep. Yeah. So yeah, like that's. So I'm just gonna. Whoop. Damn. I love that I have a word for volunteer, but not a word for regrettably. So yeah, to keep a bad thing for oneself. To keep impurity for oneself. Now we just need a nominalization, which I could use an abstract. I could use the abstract derivation tool. Like just badness. Like a general badness. So to keep badness. Or I am keeping badness. So Oma Fa Okoli Oma Fa Okoli. I go to the store versus I hold going to the store. I guess I don't quite understand that. Like, does that mean like I'm going to the store for something for me? It's like it's the difference between I'm going to the store, you want anything, and I'm going to the store. I feel like that. I like that. I'm going to the store, you want anything. I do like that idea. Okolikai. So to take badness, I do. Huh. So to regret, I like that. And then a nominalization, an agent nominalization. Oh my gosh, what would be the agent? What would be an agent noun to come from regret? The difference is what you were discussing with whether or not you like or agree with what you're saying. So, another discourse marker, which is like what we're doing. So, I'll just put regrettably there. I'll just put regrettably there. No, I do like that. I do like that. And I will finish this off because I like that as well. But yeah, I think that's just a very, yeah. Convict. I like that. And I'll have to worry about that and how that's gonna reduce. I'll do that off stream. Okay, so yeah, I'll put regrettably right there. So that's just our I don't like what I'm about to say. So half of it, half. So some. What did I say half was? I ended up saying some. So mana. Somo mana. Actually, let me make sure that this is correct. Yeah, somo. Sopa, because it's plural. Sopa mana will be given. Yeah, okay. So, omafo fi? Is that what the passive is? Oi! Woohoo! Omafoi will be given fo'a. Don't mind me, I zoned out for all of that. I was still speaking and I zoned out. Fo'a. Whew. Fo'a. Fa. Okay. Boom. Oh, and then copula. Fo'a. It. So 3 plural, some, copula, hold, passive, give, infinitive, good. Right, and then thank you and you're welcome. This could be because of, and I'm working on a video explaining the lore of this world of the Kea. My thought is that this has a very big, that like these phatic expressions, stuff like hello or goodbye or thank you or you're welcome, they would have something to do with the gods, most likely. And I was thinking, like, maybe the gods like this. Could, like, saying that the gods like something could be reduced into just like, thank you. The gods are pleased with this. So God, plural, definite, oh my gosh, why can I not think? Actually, let me make sure I have a word like that. Smile? Okay. So, T. And then these are generally... so that's a homophone to T. Okay, so I can just straight up take this. Alright, so then imperfective. Or the gods smile. The gods smile on this. That could just be present. Yeah. So, te, or smile, and then, so I'm saying, I'd think that it would be, like, referring to you. So, doa, bo, te, accusative, doa pote, doa pote, jamo. Don't mind me not knowing homophones. Yeah, and it's funny. It's smile and to want. Like, those are similar. Like, I'd say that they could occupy the same semantic space. Oh, hi Sutton. So we figured out a word, we figured out a discourse marker for regrettably, or fine, I don't like what I'm about to say, or I'm not happy with the topic. We ended up taking a word that meant to hold, and using that as an auxiliary to mean I don't like this. So a sort of negative intention. Not intention, but negative attitude. And we also worked on, like, phatic expressions. We worked on this one phatic expression, which the idea will also apply to. Heck, we might actually just repeat this. The gods smile on you. The gods smile on you. So, yeah, due to the lore of this world, which I am working on a video for, the phatic expressions, stuff like thank you, you're welcome, would be stuff dealing with the gods. But after all of that, we have the conversation done. That's that. And we did it in we finished how many lines? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 lines in 50 minutes. Oh my gosh. And we wonder why I didn't used to translate things. I don't have the dopamine for this. If I'm not doing it with other people. I did. All right. So, do we desire a dramatic reading? Is that necessary? Yes, take heart, for the gods smile upon thee. I like that. I think this deserves a dramatic reading before we move into Ofsumir. And work on actually work on verbs this time. Kuliotana? What a tasteless for. What? I feel like that's a reference that I'm not getting. But I see y'all are for a dramatic reading, so Chahifo leamia no koli. Kaisakapo chamo. Leamaya kelo pohifo kapakama oekate. Kaisakatama urama asha mo iyo e urama. Asha terafoto ashichalo. Chacholo che afate po ashihie nasumo. Koishai hasha o hechi che afate. Ateteo. Isha e asha o oefama leamaya mo chalo. Asha tetemana leamaya alo ioe. Somoe. Asha o fi foara foto mana deo. Sopa mana o mafo o foai. Do apotechamo. Okay. After that clunky reading. It's based off a Mexican idiom. It's a positive thing. What a tasteless fart. What a tasteless fart. I read fort. Okay. Alright, so we're done with this Kea translation. It's time to move into Ofsumir. So with I just wanted to. Hello, Algie. It's Algie go Gigi. Algie go Gigi. There we go. So last time we had talked about working with noun cases to justify a lot of stuff. So we now have noun cases. And for those of you who are astute and or remember, Ofsumir is a prepositional language. It's Ofsumir time. Yeah. We might. I think it's time to actually give it a name for this stream. But yeah. So Ofsumir is a prepositional language. I'm just going with the fact that prepositional languages, when they have case marking, they tend to have case suffixes instead of case prefixes. And I figured it would just not cause as many problems to have the plural forms and the singular forms mix with the case marking. Because I think it's relatively uncommon for languages to just have case affixes that don't fusionally mix with plurality. I may be wrong. I may be misremembering. But if you're looking at this, I think this lends itself, this whole deal lends itself to one of my initial goals, no grammatical number. Which, if I get rid of this, so the difference between I used a tama, I used a tama, or no, so the difference between I'm going towards a tama and I hate that Google Sheets does that. The difference between I'm going towards the tama and I'm going towards tamas is mainly stress. Yeah, because who cares how many? But the main difference is stress. Or an even better example. So the tamas thing and the tamas thing. Oh my gosh. There we go. So tamaom and tamaom. Well, since it's only distinguished in the instrumental and allative, as well as the nominative, accusative, and dative in the voiced declension, aka a word that ends with a vowel, ends with a voiced consonant. So like tamad, it would be tamado. And tamadu for the plural. And then in anything that would end up with something that end up with a consonant that would be palatalized. So tamat, for the nominative plural. Oh my gosh, it's great. It's fantastic. I was made aware. So, okay. Let me take a few steps back, because I'm getting excited. Let me take a few steps back. The main reason I didn't want grammatical number was for this deal. I didn't want grammatical number because I figured that it would be extremely complex to make sure that everything fit in that template. So the main reason I wanted it is because I didn't want to take a word, since we're using tam, take a word like tamut, which the infinitive form would be tamut. Take a word tamut and then turn it into tam ilahat or something. I didn't want to do that. And I was made aware by Sawton, the ever amazing Sawton, that you can just not do that. You can have grammatical number in other parts of the language that don't exist in the verb system. Which duh? But, like, I guess I was locked in on that idea. But, long story short, nouns can have pluralization, and given the minimal differences between paradigms, it doesn't seem all that unreasonable for them to disappear in the future. Yeah, I don't think it's too. I don't think it's too. Whatever the word is, too unrealistic for the distinctions to kind of just be glossed over. There's not parallel marking in the verbs. Yeah, there's not parallel marking in the verbs. So I'm not worried about that. But I feel like looking at this case system, you get a good vibe for which cases are the original cases and which ones came after. You know, the ones that don't have forms and the ones that do. Or the ones that don't have complex forms and the ones that do. Oh my gosh. But, yeah, I spent time working on that after the stream last week. Not all languages with grammatical number needed to always mark it. Yeah. And you explained that last time, so I'm needed to always mark it. I just got what you were saying. Needed to always mark it. I like that. I like that it's optional. Which means there could be, like, a quote-unquote new way, or a double marking even, to show plural, if they choose to. But that's something I'll cover or work with once we actually get into working with nouns. But for right now, I want to look at these genitives, because there's two. Sotten last week suggested that I look up the functions of the genitive, and that I could split up those functions into more closer to first or second person, the more mandatory the marking. Yeah, stuff like the closer it is to the first or second person, the more likely it would be to marked, or the more mandatory the marking would be. That shows itself all the time, doesn't it? But yes, Sotten suggested last time that I touch on the genitives and have two genitives, and as you can see, I have different origins for both. And given that another one of my goals for this language is clefting. Oh, it says. Yes, reminds you of it says. That's great. For that reason alone. But one of the big deals is, one of my big goals for this is clefting. What better way to do that, or to justify that, than obviously a complex case system, but also topicalization. Yes, pretty much. But it also the origin has a reference idea, and what is more topicalizing than referencing something? It's like speaking of blah blah blah, Mandarin has to mark plurals in pronouns. and it's optional in human nouns. Yeah, I like that. I might have to steal that, possibly. Yeah, the big idea I want with this language is just all sorts of clefting. So, putting a topicalization sort of thing, and given that relative clauses come first, the thing that is most important would probably fall at the end of the sentence. So, stuff like, yeah, up here, underneath that fell house blew the. The most important aspect of this is the house, right? Yeah, the most important aspect is the house. Because in that sentence, underneath that fell house blew the, you're talking about the house. But, well, how would that work? Yeah. Once you start using clefts, then they generally start popping up everywhere. Exactly. That's... What was that about... What was that Willie Manus quote? Grammar is born hungry? But yeah, so... We can worry about this later. For right now, I want to touch on verbs. And I want to actually touch on verbs. And not just end up creating a whole case system. So if we're looking at analogy, or not analogy, but infixing. I want to keep it simple. That's the main reason I didn't want grammatical number in the first place. I wanted to keep it all simple. Don't mind me just fumbling around with Google Sheets. I didn't want it to be all that complex. I didn't want the infixing to be all that complex. And that mainly ends up happening. You end up with like complex affixes because I have... You like the colors? Yeah, I have a complex system. Once a structure develops, it can spread. You and Galactic's 4-hour long argument. Uh-oh. No, but this is I have a complex syllable structure. Already. And adding any sort of affixes makes that a lot harder. So, I had a few ideas. I could have... So, for a proto... For the proto language... Just kind of... For the proto language, we could just have a simple... non-past... and then past distinction, in which they distinguish yesterday's 4 to 5 hour long argument in a nutshell. I like that. Very, very good. So imperfective and a perfective split. Elancha. Oh my gosh, that was... That discussion we had a while ago, Galactic Sand and Son, that was... I say a while ago, that was Friday night. But... yeah, I was thinking... For the proto system, just simple non-past, past, imperfective, perfective. Just a simple distinction. Don't worry about it. And to have the imperfective and perfective come from two different origins. So, say like lu, or I guess because this isn't an affix yet, and ra. Now, some of you may be thinking, wait, Ofsumir, Proto Ofsumir doesn't have a ra. And you know what I have to say about that? You know what I have to say to that? Shut up. That's what I have to say to that. I had an idea. That r could either lower vowels when in coda position. So stuff like stems with say words that would end up patterning like damit, damat, damut. Those could turn into damit, damat, and damut. And words that pattern like damit, damat, damut could end up patterning like damat, damat. Oh, hey Majahadra, how's it going? You missed the Kea translation. I'll have it up. I don't want to butcher my own language again. Not the right emoji. I don't want to butcher my beautiful language again, so I'm just gonna let y'all watch that back if you want to. So words that pattern with a low vowel would become damit, damat, would go from damit, damat, damot to tamat, tamat, tamot. So just for romanization, tamot. Now, that would add two more phonemic vowels into the mix with long and short variations. Well, so long story short, I posited this sort of thing where the vowels. The vowels are good. I do like those vowels. Like, I do like that as a not that. I do like that as a system. I, u, e, o, a, o. Like, I do like that. So maybe, well, I can imagine aw would merge with o, but then that would remove a distinction. That would remove a tense distinction. Or not tense, but that would remove a distinction. So I'd imagine maybe I just had a terrible thought. So in the past tense, or in the past imperfective or perfective tense, words that pattern like damit, damat, damot would become tomat, tomat, tamot. But in the imperfective, in the past perfective, it could words that pattern like high vowels could be tamet, tamat, tamut. Just destroy the distinction in the third person. No, I can't, because the whole idea of this language is that I want all of the analogy. So, I think what I'm gonna do is do this. I'm gonna have two mids, high mid and low mid, and I'll worry about IPA later. And I'll worry about fixing the colors later. All. So, and then r would be lost in coda positions. I like to have phonetic changes that invalidate pre-existing grammar rules, so new ways come around it. Yeah, so new ways to come around it must be developed. See, Majahadra, I like that. I love that sort of thing. The problem is, the big thing I want for this language is to be analogy. I want... It ends up being such a dramatic thing that nouns and verbs are no longer different. There's no such thing as a verb, there is no such thing as a noun. It is this thing, this amalgam. So we could end up with, and I posited this last week, verbs or copulas that derive from nouns. So say we take a word atmu. So say that means dog. Atmu kuli. Atmu kuli. And or no, it would end up being kulu. Atmu kulu. So, animal. Dog, animal. That would be the dog is X. The dog is doing X, or the dog is something. But we could do mabat or mabut. So run. And we could end up doing different verbs and different... Oh, that's great. Auxiliary verbs in between subject and object, and then the lexical verb could go first. Love that. I'm gonna have to write that down. But this would be... the dog runs. So, the literal translation would come to be... the animaling dog runs. And it's just great. It's fantastic. And that analogy would tear the whole distinction between noun and verb just down to the ground. Nothing left. And yes, galactic sand, the heavy aspirated versus light aspirated. Oh, it's great. It's fantastic. Just looking at that makes me laugh. I love it so much. Okay, so yeah. Is the consensus that we are good with including and all into the mix? I'm fine with this. This is cool. I like it a lot. And again, it makes the verb system more complex while not creating any more issues for me to deal with. I'm fine with this. We could also, again, end up with lexicalized. Not you, Echo. Or Alexa. You're Alexa, aren't you? You're Alexa. Sorry. I'm not in my office. I'm not in my office. And the owner of this office has an Echo Dot that is named Alexa. Where in my office, I have an Echo Dot named Echo.
Sorry, something went wrong.
Yeah.
Let's try again in a moment.
So, I don't know if y'all heard that, but just some background as to why I'm yelling at something in the background. Okay, so we take non-past and past, imperfective and perfective. They don't mark that. So let's... I guess it would be more suitable to note the origin of the imperfective and perfective particles. So origin, we could do something like to hold for imperfective and to stand for perfective. Also, Galactic Sand, I saw your thing. I saw your comment about keeping them, so they're keeping those two vowels, so I'm keeping them. I think this is all right. I think this is a decent thing to use. Now, the question comes up. Should this verb system stay as simple as it is? Because I don't think it's quite... I think it's fine, because the main attraction is the fact that verbs and nouns are the same thing. That's the main deal with this language. So, to add any more complexity onto a quote-unquote noun, I think it would be a little much. But then again, I could do 12 million things with verbs. And that doesn't even begin to mess with moods or modality. Do we want evidentiality in this? I'm pretty sure... Do the Semitic languages have evidentiality? Semitic. Hebrew and Arabic. Do they? Am I reading this properly? Should I have institutional access? No, thank you. I'm fine. Is this a thing that is evidentially? Is this a thing that is like widely agreed upon, or am I in an echo chamber, or is this actually what I think it is? Because if so, we could have a perfective, we could have the perfective turn into a direct past. So, past. And, so, Lu, and the direct past is what used to be Ra. What am I doing? Bam. Hold up. This is confusing me. Boom. So then this could come around. Maybe it would apply to both non-past and indirect past. The short and long energetic tenses. I don't know nearly enough about Semitic. I don't know enough about Arabic. I have a book on biblical Hebrew, but nothing on Arabic. I need to read more. Like, we could do something like that. We could let this simple system evolve into a more complex evidential system. And we could, I don't know, just have present perfective. We could have present perfective become the norm, like how in English the present participle is becoming just the normal present tense. So using some affix in the past tense just creates a perfective indirect past. It could become the normal present tense, and the imperfective could become a future? Hold up, I like that. I like that a lot. Holy crap. Jeez. So present, future, and then Lu. Okay. Long energetic, just looking at the chat quick. Long energetic is usually rendered something like indeed this happened, and short would be this may have happened, or at least the last time I checked. So it's epistemic versus what is it called? Epistemic versus indicative. I mean, I guess. Yeah, I guess that could be a thing. Oh, no. So no, the future would be the blank form. And then there is no present. the present doesn't have a... The present imperfective just doesn't exist because it turned into the future. Okay, so we have some complexities going on here. Should I pull up Lexergy? I'd also have to work in some things. I feel like doing anything to mess with the vowels anymore would destroy things, which I don't want. I don't want to destroy anything that has been there because of that idea of analogy. Just slamming in there and destroying. Analogy already destroys the difference between nouns and verbs, right? So I don't think it would be conducive to my situation to make a vowel altering affix. Maybe I could deem at some point in the language that, I don't know, it doesn't like some cluster, and then it infixes. No, I'm not killing the vowels. The vowels are too beautiful to kill. Maybe I could say later in the history of the language, it just doesn't like some consonant cluster, because what would give us an L infix, so a word like, well, let's just go with tamat, or tamut, because verbs. Tamut would end up being tamult, or tamut would end up being tamurt. The big thing is it just doesn't like, the language doesn't like syllabic resonance. So it ends up doing epenthesis to reverse all of that. So tamut to tamutl would become tamult. Tamut, tamutr, very old Norse. Tamutr would become tamurt, because they just don't like that. They don't like syllabic resonance. So maybe somewhere in the language's history, we could say, and mind you, this would happen after the big verb analogy thing. So we could get away with having just an affix on it, which I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't 100% mind that. So, like, say, if a word ends with a stop, tamultna, it might not like that stop nasal sequence. It might not like that stop. It might not like a stop sequence. So tamultka might not like that, so it becomes tamulkat. I feel like and then if that happened with a word like tamun, tamunl, That would still switch. So tamuln to tamulnka. Well, it still might not like that 3 consonant cluster. It might not like that word medially. It might not like that. It might not like the 3 consonants in one cluster. So tamulkan. Cotton, and then it switches back to tamulkant. Tumun. Ooh. So have the an epenthetic vowel. Yeah, we could just have that, like, tamunulka. It's cut. Or, no, it was ka. I am so smart. Galactic sand. I like that. I like that idea of an epenthetic vowel. So it doesn't, because it doesn't like the 3 consonants together. So, hear me out. Tamulunka. Tamulunka. There we go. Which, in the first person, might be Tamin. Tamil. Yeah, specifically for the compounded one. So Tamil. So Tamilka. Tamilka. That is weird. So Tamilinka. So that epenthetic vowel agrees with the verb. Agrees in person with the verb. So it would be... So this word tamun, like if we're looking at just a stem or a description of it. So high consonant or high vowels. And then or so we might look at that sort of thing. I like that a lot. I like that so much. And it's not a complex system. It is theoretically simple. Like, just the fact it's a future... It's a 3/10 system with... It's a 3/10 system with evidentiality. Basic evidentiality. Oh, it's starting to look a little bit like non-concatenative morphology? My guy, that's the plan. So, it's not a complex system, which I love. I love. I love that it looks hard to understand, like that, just having something in parentheses for the stem. Yes, theoretically simple. Yeah, having something simple. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Non-concatenative morphology is great. Coming from someone who loves the Germanic languages, non-concatenative morphology is fantastic. I'm getting excited. let me calm down a bit. Whew. It is theoretically something. You look at this and you think, oh, I can learn that. But then you need to figure out whether or not this will have a second stem verb, a reduplicate stem verb, stem vowel. So a word like Tom, or a word like Tom. Oops. Tom hurt. Like, would that have a reduplicated vowel? No, it wouldn't. Because it's not. It infixes. It infixes. There's an infix. So you need to understand, and I might like open it up so that if it's at, so it might not like obstruents. Like it might not like clusters of three consonants in a row where two of them are obstruents. So like instead of it only being a word like damut, it might also be a word like tamus. Like a word like tamus. So I could do that. So like let's just work on that. Ka. And then I will create a table later. And oh, it's so good. So good. Okay. Now that we only have 17 minutes left, I think it's finally time to put a name to this thing. Everything that I have at this point won't change very much. And if it does, like when it comes to the phonetics of the language, not very much will change. I just need to add r and a ka affix. And that's pretty much that. I would have to fix that. So, I was thinking for the name of for the actual canon name, there could be oh my gosh. No, we're not doing that. What I was thinking is that we could do something to the effect of using their tongues. Or using our tongues. Using my tongue. Which would be an instrumental construction. It would end up being Gitri. Or depending on which. I don't think that changes actually. So it would be Gitri. Because, you know, we gotta use the sounds that make this language unique in the name. So, let's come up with a word for mouth. So, we could say the proto word is just ofsu. So I can, like, at least keep the ofsu. Ofsugitri. Ofsugitri? Yeah, ofsugitri. So, Ofsugitri. We have a word. We have a word. And thusly, we alter the document. Ofsugitri. We have a name. We have a name. Ofsugitri. Oh, that's beautiful. This is fantastic. I am elated. We have a verb system. We have the case system. Well, we have the beginnings of a verb system. I won't say that this is what it's going to be the entire time. This is subject to change, but I am pretty locked in on the cases. So the big things that we still have to figure out is syntax. Just general syntax. How topicalization is going to work. And discourse. How discourse is going to work. And I say that like it's easy, but that's definitely going to be some work. Especially because syntax is not my, it's not my area of expertise. I'm, definitely going to have to do some reading. But I have documents. I have things that I can read. I know where to gain information. So, I just wanted to end off with this. End off with a question. How would y'all feel if at some point, maybe not next week, but if at some point we took a small break from Geia and Ofsugitri, and worked on just like a small little itty-bitty click language. I've been reading about those. I've been reading about clicks. And I've been very intrigued by them. And I wanted to see what I can do using what I learned from this beautiful paper. Clicks and their accompaniments. Again, might not be next week. Might not be the week after that. It might be some point in the future, in the non-foreseeable future. But I wonder, but I'm just wondering how y'all would feel if I did. Just took a break. If you have any what are they called? Objections. If you have any objections, voice them now. That is, now is the time to voice your opinion. Gotta hydrate. Any objections? Yes, no? You would be up for that? Question mark. I would be up for that? Yes, I would be up for that. Cool. So there's some more reading that I would have to do, obviously. This paper. I'm also currently reading Don't Sleep, There Are Snakes, which is the book on Piraha. It's very good. I currently finished, I'm currently at the point where he starts to dive into the language, and the grammar and stuff like that, which I'm looking forward to very much. And I'd also like to get more familiar with Tokipona. I have the book. But all of that in preparation for this click language. Because I want to do something analytical. I want to do something analytical and something weird. Just so I don't have to worry. Just so I don't have to worry about the origin of the clicks. I can just say, oh yeah, this word is like yeah, sure, that's what that word is. Like, so oh, Tokipona is so good. Majahadra, I feel you. But yeah, I want to do something analytical, something simple and something weird. With naturalism as like not a very big priority. Given my basic understanding of clicks and what I might learn from that paper, remake a Tokipona-esque lang with clicks. Isn't Tokipona analytical? You say also analytical. Isn't it analytical? I could. I'll make a Tokiponito that is literally just a little bit more complex Tokipona, but with clicks. All words that start with stops end up becoming clicks. I'm gonna do it. You can't stop me. But yeah, I'm given that I don't know very much about clicks. This paper might answer a lot of my questions about clicks. But I'm not very concerned about naturalism for it. I'm kind of just looking at it as a self-indulgent sort of thing. Like, hey, I want to make something. I want to do clicks. Let's do clicks. So, yeah. All stops become clicks. Fricatives become stops. Oh, Majahadra, you're not giving me any good ideas. I love Tokipona, the language of good. No, not Tokipona. Mona. That's an adjective. Mona. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Mona. But yeah, I'll have to schedule that. I'll have to actually like set a schedule so I actually read things, you know? For my driving test, I had to schedule my driver's test so that I wouldn't just slack off and not learn how to drive. I went from not knowing how to drive to learning how to drive in a month because I needed to pass my exam that I had scheduled. So I need to like schedule this click stream out in, I don't know how long in advance. Maybe a month. I could give myself a month. But just like schedule something so that I will do it. You know? So I might do that as an extra long stream. Maybe. But yeah. It was great working with y'all. It was great hanging out. Glad y'all could come. Satan, I hope your car is fine. I hope you're okay. Galactic Sand, I will not kill the vowels. Majahadra, I will read about Tokipona and Algae. Expect all of the non-concatenative morphology in Ofsumir. Alright. Oh, have a good one, y'all. Have a good one.